Hi, it's Anne with Art on the Creek. Welcome back. Happy New Year. I thought we could have some fun today and try painting something that's already white. How do you do that? Let's find out. So I sat down to paint this morning and I had left this out from my last piece. And I don't know if you can tell all of the different colors that are in these dried up wells here. Looks like some greens and browns, pinks, and over here we've got some greens and purples. So I thought, with this one in particular, it reminded me, I think I'd like to show you how to paint a white rose using shadows. Because how do we really paint something white on a sheet of white paper? So the photo I've chosen for us today is this white rose. I thought it was a great one because there's a lot of shadows in it. And that's what we're looking for. Those shadows and the portions of light, that helps us determine which colors to use. So a good way to see all those shadows is to first turn your photo into black and white. This is just by using a function in your iPhone. The setting is called NOIR, and this will help you see those shadows more crisply. You can also play with the tint. Here it is suppressed, and here it is enhanced. So you can see in the first one we have more greens, the second one is more pinks. And now we've got the cool turned up so those blue tones really show. And here it is in warm, where you can see the grays and the peaches. So there's all kinds of things that you can do to see those colors come out in your white subject. Alrighty, here's our drawing. There are some marks on my paper here and here that we're not going to pay attention to. Those were scratches from when I used a palette knife to remove the previous page from the block. I had some issues with it. So this is a photo from Unsplash by Sarah Coates. And I really like the way that all the shadows were on this white rose. I can see, as I look at it, I can see some yellows and pinks, and it disappears back in here with some nice little grays. So let me get some water, we'll get set up, and we'll get started. All right, the brush I'm going to use today is, excuse me, my Wangai Goat synthetic blend from Tracy LeBenson. She makes these brushes by hand. She's in Washington State, and they hold just a beautiful point. So, and they're very ergonomic too. I've dipped it in water so you can see that amazing point that you get with these. So let's go ahead and dive in. I'm going to start with the deepest shadows first. Okay, we'll start with this mix here with just a touch of the quinacridone gold added in. And we'll start in the center of the flower. Now this fold here has some nice blues to it, so I'm going to start down here with the darkest colors. And then I'll go in with those blues. And for this, I'm using the, let me get the names of these colors out here so I can see them. I'm going to use the lavender in with this to create this shade here. Just want to go in with a very, very light wash when you're making a white subject. And we're really just looking for shadows at this point. Just trying to find where those shadows are and what would be the best way to bring them out. So we're going to keep the lighter values toward the front as we paint. So I'm just going in with this very pale wash of yellow here to get the shadow on this petal. And where it's near the other petal, the adjacent one, we're going to add just a touch more pigment. Now I'm going to take some artist's license here and add some of the the quinacridone rose. And then we'll go back in with our purple and deepen that up. again, going in just with some of that purple and lavender, getting this darker portion in here. And when you're painting something white, what you're really doing is creating the area that you want to show by a lot of negative space painting. And that will, for instance, how this pink here, that would be the top of the petal that's folding over. So I'm going to go in with a darker color underneath it. Let's see, I'll pull something here from this palette that's already mixed. And I will put the line right under that so that that area will be shadowed. And it will stand out. Get some more of these blue tone shadows in here. All right, there's some really nice blue on this one out here. So you can see having a really fine point brush works very well for this technique. Get a nice purple in there and get this back half of this petal here. And then we'll branch into some of the darker shades that are already on the palette. Just pull that around. Okay, now let's look for some more warm values. We can put some here in this fold. And in this leaf over here, there is a nice cool mark that comes down here. We're going to put some pink on this edge here and here. Now let's get these warm shadows going again. You can even go in with kind of a burnt sienna. To get those deepest values in shadow. Alrighty, now let's zoom in just a little bit and we'll tackle this side over here. Shifting to the warmer light down here, and we'll put some cooler shadows in here. And right in there where it gets too deep, We'll just lift some of that out. There. Now you might think that that is just not going to work because it doesn't look white, but just you wait. Now it's time to go ahead and put in the background. It's kind of a just a gray from my palette. And we're just gonna fill that back in like so. All right, now we'll come up here and continue that. Now up here, this is where the cool light is on our shadow. So we're going to add some cool tones to that palette gray that we have. And now we'll go over here. I'm sorry, you're getting a lot of glare from the light. There, that's better. Again, mixing that lavender in with that palette gray to try and get the cool tones expressed in this shadow here. Now down here, we're gonna want some warmer colors because this is where the warm light is coming from up underneath. So I've turned this sideways and now I'm just using that very light wash from the palette that I've got left. You can see it's just very runny, very light. Just picking that up a little here. And I'll add some of that, there's some green to go in there. I'll add some of the shadow violet to get some of those darker colors in, the warmth. And then we can pop in some Quin Gold to kind of help with that. I may have added water to that section too soon, but we'll see. All right, now we'll come over here and we'll fill that in. I'm going to add some more blue and green to my palette mix there. All right, now we'll zoom back out. There we go. And let's see if I can fix, there we go. All right, so now we've got a very light background going. Let's go in with a little bit of some moon glow just for fun. I'm taking the moon glow and mixing with this, whoops, what's left on this middle tray here. and just get a little bit more color definition. And I think since that is going to be a cooler purple, I'll start up here. I love the versatility of this brush. I can make a wide swath while maintaining that fine tip. And with Moon Glow, with all the granulating colors, you want to use a lot of water. So we'll pull that out. And now I'm going to come down to this side, excuse me, and add some more of that phthalo blue. I really like how that looks. Back in here with the Moon Glow a little bit. Now we'll come in this warmer area. I've got some greens mixed in on this palette over here. Like an olive green, kind of, is how the mix turned out. And this is just the final glaze of the background, just so I can tell what my values are going to be. Inside the rose. Alrighty, I'll get some of that quinacridone rose in here to set aside the green from the stem, because we're going to want that to pop out. And we'll do the same thing on this side here. I've mixed some quinacridone rose with that phthalo blue, and now I'm going in with some of the quin gold on that and making this kind of a warm olive green mix. Now again with a little more of the straight quinacridone there to get those green leaves to pop when we're ready. All right, and then we'll come around this end with more of this Shadow Violet or Moon Glow, either one. Oh, and I went right into my petal. Okay, we'll just change things up a little bit here. My bad. We're just going to change the drawing. Try and scrub that out and get some more pigment in there so it's not quite as obvious. Okay, and then finally coming around here with more of the little bit of the lavender. All right, now I'm going to make one little change here to make this look a little more like a rose petal. There we go. All right, now, here's where we're at. I'm going to go ahead and hit it with the heat tool. All right, we've got that all dried off with the heat tool, and I'm really liking what I'm seeing so far. But I think before I finish the shadows up in here, what I want to do is finish the leaves and the petals so that I can be absolutely sure about my values in the rows. I'm really liking it. I can already see I need some more shadow up in here, but I love how this fold turned out here. Let me zoom in so you can see that. I'm really liking this area here. This leaf, the petal, I like how it ripples there, and these deep shadows here are very nice. And I really like this center, how it's just a conglomerate of petals. So let's go ahead and I'll zoom out here. And let's look at the green that's in the, I don't know what those things are called, the part of the bud where these things, where it opens out. I think it's kind of a bluish green, but again, I want to start with a very thin wash. I'm mixing the lavender with some Cascade green, which is what I had on my my palette, and I think that might be a little too blue, so I'm going to add some of this serpentine green. And there it is, perfect. So this is a mix of the serpentine green and lavender mostly. I added just a touch of that Cascade green, and I think it got just a little too blue. So we're gonna go with this lavender and serpentine green. Now the serpentine is a granulating color, so we'll see what we get out of that here. But you see how, let me zoom in. You can see what a nice pale pastel green that is. And I'm going to use this all over the leaf as our lightest value. So we'll fill this in on all three of these leaves, I think. There's this little guy over here. Don't want to forget him. And that one, since it's in the back, is going to be a lot darker, but I do want it to have this base of this kind of it's a cool color. I don't know what I call it. Pastel green. I'll have to remember this combination for things like cacti and if I do a yucca. We have a lot of yucca that grows here where I live. Now, we're going to go in. I am going to put just a touch of Cascade green in that mix because the rest of this does take on a bluer tint. And we're going to put in a fine line here to create this shadow where the leaf comes up. And then curls under. I'm at an awkward angle. Let me turn this just a little. There we are. And then for the other side, we'll do that same green, but this time it's going to go in and we're going to leave just a little bit of space between the edge and this little line of Cascade green that I'm doing here. Okay, now it's got a lot of, it's very light right there, so let's go ahead and mix up some more of that lavender and the serpentine green, and we'll come in here with the second wash. Now let me get my brush to cooperate here. covered up where I wanted my light to be. Wasn't thinking. And now we'll go back in with that Cascade Green, which I'm going to mix with just a little bit of that Shadow Violet. Kind of brown it up a little. And now that's all I'm going to do right there until it dries. And then I'll do the same thing with this Shadow Violet mix here and just get this guy in. Not filling it in completely. I've left a few spaces there so that it can differentiate from the background. Put a very fine line there to let this have a deeper shadow. And now we'll come over here, and this one is going to have some actual gray mixed in with it. So now I've mixed kind of a gray-green. And this will take over not the edge, but most of the center of this leaf. Like so. And then we'll just soften this edge here. And I think I'll bring some of that gray-green over here. I'm going to hit that with the heat tool again. There we go. Now it looks like that's folded over. I'm realizing I kind of missed a fold in my drawing here, so I'm trying to kind of replicate that somewhat. I'll pull up some darkness here. That's that Shadow Violet. And now I've just got a little bit of water on my brush. I'll smooth that out at the top. There. Alrighty. Now we'll tackle the stem. That's really a yellow-green, so I think what I'm going to do is with this green pile I have over here, I will mix a little more quinacridone gold with some of this Cascade Green. I'll come in here on this side and just go down the left side of the stem like so. And then I'll go in with a darker green, and for this case I can use this Green Apatite Genuine excuse me, and some of the Shadow Violet. Mix that in there, and we'll do the right side of this. And then finally, to really give it that dark boost, this is just pure Shadow Violet on my brush, and I'm just going down, excuse me, just going down the very edge. And now I've just got water on my brush. With a little bit of that Green Apatite Genuine, and now I'm going to go ahead and hit this with the heat tool as well. Now I want to try and go in here with, I'm going to grab a different brush. This is my my number 4 Princeton Neptune, and I just want to see if I can loosen this line a little. Just water on the brush, very gently blending. And then I'll go in with some of this lighter green that we mixed. and come in again. Ended up getting a little too dark. There we go. Oh, that's perfect. Just blot that off. Okay, now we're going to do something. It's kind of like jumping off the ledge. I'm going to erase the pencil lines. And we'll see where we stand. All right, not bad. And now let's take a look at our reference. And let's define some of these lines here. This is very nice right here. We'll get that. And zoom in, you can see what we're doing. This line right here needs a little definition. And we're going to go in with some of this lighter mix. Kind of blend that. That's a pretty deep shadow right there. There, that's good. And we'll just punch up this line right here. And then come in with the wet brush and smooth that out. And just like we did with the portraiture of my daughter, we're going to go in and blot that off, and then it leaves just enough tint. And now we need a nice yellow brown. There we go. And now coming in with some more of that pink tone. Right under here. There we are. And then this is a little bit of a purpley here. And in little places like this, excuse me, where you can see the line of the petal, but it's so faint, we want to go in with negative painting there to kind of accentuate that. So we paint this side away from it. Just like these here, you can see the folds. And the deeper shadows would be down here. Okay, now let's look at this side over here. That leaf is pretty much in shadow. The petal there is pretty much in shadow, so we can extend this all the way to the end. But I still want to have some light coming in there. There. That's just what I was going for. And we're going to do the same on this one here, only this will be a warmer shadow. It'll be with some browns. And in this case, it's kind of a purpley brown with that shadow violet. Just going in and lightly blotting it up. This makes a nice gray here. There, I like that a lot. Deepen that just a touch. And let's see, it looks like we need some definition in here. And finally the center. So I'm finding quite a bit more to punch up here, which is fine. There. A little bit of dry brush technique coming up here. And I am quite pleased with this. So as you can see, when you're using thin washes of colors, you can easily paint something white by leaving the negative space and accentuating the shadows and folds. So there we have our rose. And I hope that you enjoyed this one. And until next time, I hope you enjoy your day. Thanks for watching. Well, you missed a blooper. My Fluid 100 block is letting me down. I'm just going to try and fix it. I have a tear there and here. Look at that. How frustrating is that? I think I'll paint the back with some glue. Let's see if I can fix this. This is a precision craft glue. It's water soluble. I'm gonna have to probably, oh good, no, it's working. So I'll just put a little bit there. And then I'll go in with a brush that I don't care too much about. And just try and spread that around a little. How frustrating. It's like the adhesive on it is just too strong on this block. So I'm gonna have to remember that. This glue is acid-free, archival, all that good stuff. It's probably not going to fix, but this one is destined for my art book at any rate, so that looks a little better. Maybe, now here we go. I'm gonna try and fix something, see if I don't wreck it. Yeah, that's just as I thought. That's gonna show it off even more. Okay, well, darn it. This block, I love it. It is my Fluid 100 watercolor paper, but this is the second time the page has torn on me trying to get the paper off. And I do have this release leaf that I use for this. I've only got a few pages left. It wasn't doing it at the beginning, so maybe it's something that only happens when you get to the end. Has anyone else had this issue with this this brand of watercolor block? It says it's easy. Ugh. All right, kids. All right, well, I still love my rose. There, I'll just hold it like that. Okay, we'll see you guys later. Have a great day. Well, look who came to join me. Hi, Sasha. Yeah. Do you like painting? You just came here to take a nap. You're a good old girl. I think that little painting did a pretty good job of cleaning up the palette. I hate to waste paint, so there's still some in here. I might do another one because I'm so mad that that one tore. Ugh. Dang it. I really like the way it turned out though. Oh well, such is life. I'll go do another one.